The sinking of the RMS Titanic remains one of the most tragic events in modern history and has captivated the imaginations of people for over a century. On the fateful night of April, but what of the iceberg? Was it truly the cause of the Titanic's sinking, or was it merely a distraction? The idea that the iceberg was part of a larger plot to sink the ship raises further questions. Some believe that the Titanic was deliberately steered toward the iceberg, either by a member of the crew or by someone with a vested interest in ensuring the ship's destruction. The collision could have been timed to perfection, ensuring that the ship would sink in the most devastating manner possible. Another theory suggests that the ship's hull was damaged before it even left port, and that it was deliberately weakened to make it more vulnerable to a collision. Some claim that the Titanic was not the first ship to have this issue, as another vessel in the White Star Line fleet had suffered similar damage to its hull before. If the Titanic was built with a compromised hull, it would explain the rapid sinking once it struck the iceberg. The lack of sufficient lifeboats on the Titanic has been another focal point of conspiracy theories. While it is true that the ship did not carry enough lifeboats for all passengers, this was supposedly done to make the ship appear more luxurious. The official reason given for this decision was that the Titanic was designed to be the largest and most impressive ship, and there was no need for more lifeboats because the ship was unsinkable. However, some believe that this decision was part of a larger plan to ensure that the number of survivors would be limited, with only the people who were meant to survive being allowed to escape. The Titanic's sinking was also shrouded in secrecy, with the official investigation being rushed and numerous inconsistencies in reports. Some believe that the inquiry into the disaster was deliberately suppressed to prevent the true story from coming out. Witnesses who survived the tragedy were reportedly intimidated or silenced, and their testimonies were not fully included in the official investigation. This lack of transparency has fueled the idea that there was more to the sinking than meets the eye. Despite the many conspiracy theories surrounding the Titanic's sinking, it is important to remember that the event was undeniably a tragic one. Over 1,500 people lost their lives, and the aftermath of the disaster shook the world. Whether or not there was any foul play involved, the sinking of the Titanic serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of hubris, greed, and human fallibility. It is a tragedy that continues to haunt us to this day. The theory that the Titanic was deliberately sunk remains a popular topic of discussion among conspiracy theorists and historians alike. While there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the disaster was orchestrated, the questions raised by the theory are worth considering. Was the Titanic truly the victim of a tragic accident, or was it part of a larger, more sinister plan? The truth may never be known, but the mystery of the Titanic's sinking will continue to captivate the world's imagination for generations to come. Point 15, 1912. The seemingly unsinkable ship struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic, resulting in the loss of over 1,500 lives. But what if the sinking wasn't an accident? What if the Titanic was sunk on purpose? This theory has been the subject of many discussions, fueled by conspiracy theories, rumors, and doubts about the official narrative. While mainstream history attributes the disaster to an unfortunate series of events, some believe there may have been darker motives behind the tragedy. The Titanic was built by the White Star Line, a British shipping company, and was heralded as a marvel of modern engineering. With its grand interiors, luxurious amenities, and state-of-the-art safety features, it was considered the epitome of human achievement. But beneath its gleaming exterior, there were financial motives at play, and the construction of the Titanic was not just about transporting passengers across the ocean. It was a business venture, and like any business, it had to meet the demands of the wealthy elite who funded it. There are also claims that J.P. Morgan had a direct hand in the creation of the Titanic's ill-fated voyage. Morgan was reportedly set to travel aboard the ship, but canceled his trip at the last minute, choosing to stay in Europe instead. Was this a lucky escape, or was it part of a larger scheme to ensure that the disaster would go according to plan? Some believe that Morgan orchestrated the events leading to the Titanic's sinking, carefully manipulating the situation so that the ship would hit the iceberg at the exact moment needed for maximum destruction. Another aspect of the theory involves the competing interests between the White Star Line and the rival Cunard Line, which was another British shipping company. The Cunard Line had been struggling financially and was in direct competition with the White Star Line. Some believe that the Titanic was sunk as part of a strategy to eliminate competition and maintain White Star Line's dominance in the transatlantic passenger business. By sinking the Titanic, the company could profit from the increased demand for tickets on the remaining ships in its fleet.